Middle-earth is home to many elves, men, dwarves, and all free folk, as well as plenty of stories from before to now, and as many as there will be in the endless years to come. This is one of them. A ranger named Talion and the ring-maker Celebrimbor, bound together in death, both bent on vengeance on the Dark Lord. And they will achieve their goal, one fortress at a time, in the land of Mordor. On the eve of twilight, the dark clouds begin to pour light rain over the coming battle. Strong Uruks armed in rough armor and sharp weapons. All of them are hungry for blood and begin to jump with excitement, with boiling nerves ready for battle. In the center, Talion walks with his wraith counterpart, Celebrimbor, and his two most trusted bodyguards, Gruz the Spine Ripper and Ologkai of the Feral Tribe, and Raka the Blacksmith. An Urukai of the Machine Tribe stand beside the Bright Lord and await further orders from their master. High above the tall fort of the legendary Marauder tribe, decorated in fine gold and shining silver, the overlord of the fort, Arkar the Greedy, awaited him and his army with their captured spy, compromised and kneeling in pain.
At long last, the Grave Walker and his armies walk in our presence. We found your spy amongst our midst. Sloppy work. Sloppy, sloppy, sloppy. You should have chosen a better spy.
Save me, master!
Well, there goes another good bloke there, master.
Just leaves room for another spy once we're done here. Now come on, Bright Lord. Let's get this over with. My hammer hungers for crushed heads.
Calm down. Just remember the plan.
What plan? All I remember is that we're taking this fort.
Charge!
Like a wave of ocean water to rocky shores, Talion's orcs rush to the fort and begin their assault. Mounted catapults rain down explosive ordnance, while the archers release fiery tipped arrows, killing many of the Bright Lord's orcs. Talion walks his way past through the carnage, breaking into a sprint as the fighting grows stronger around him. Passing his orcs that are on fire, the ranger pays no mind. The smell of charring Uruks roasting across the battlefield was bearable for Talion. There's more of them on their way, and many more to come to serve in the future, until death.
Keep at it, Tox. These pieces of schrock are no match for us.
Talion calls forth his cavalry hiding under the forest outside, led by Ozkar the Ravenger, mounted with his armored Korriga. Many more mounted Korrigos arrive, charging straight for the fort. All of them begin climbing the walls, and the archers are not faring so well with the speed and ferocity of these monstrous beasts.
Bruce, get the gate!
Yes, master.
The feral Ologkai charges under the wave of arrows and straight for the gate. Making his way, he pulled out his mace, shaped from sharp bones, rocks, and refined metal. With all his brutal might, Gruz began battering the gate with his mace. His muscles throbbed with every blow he made. The gate was made of tough wood and steel, Gruz is beginning to make a dent. Gruz finally broke down the gate, and the orc warriors behind the gate staggered in fear. The closest Uruk fell in front of the Spine Ripper, and Gruz decided to have some fun.
You don't seem to need that head of yours anymore.
With the gate breached, all of Talion's orcs begin to flood the fortress inside like a horde of ghouls. Coming from above the gate, Talion jumps down and lands straight on an unsuspecting orc. The Uruk's neck soon met Talion's dagger, and black blood began to splay from the split wound. Above the carnage, over the rooftops, a row of archers begin to aim their crossbows directly at Talion and his followers. The Bright Lord was saved by a nearby defender, Ozcar the Ravager.
Come on, Ranger. You're better than that.
Ozcar dropped his damaged shield and pulled out his broad cleaver-shaped sword and sliced his way through the enemy lines. Talion unsheathes his blade and charged into battle beside his army. Running his way to Talion's presence, a lone Olokai arrives with his pack of Kargas. Clawing their way through the orcs, he stands tall, buff, and armed in armor made of bones. Dawn before his head is a Karga skull for a helmet. His piercing red eyes glare menacingly at the Bright Lord. Just thinking about him makes his blood boil, and his Kargers can sense the tension within their pack leader.
You Shrek breath talk. You invade our fortress and corrupt these Karagors. I will have my beast tear your flesh to pieces, and I will cover my walls with your blood. I am Rogmug, the Beastmaster. Roar!
Rogmug the Beastmaster signaled his orcs to release the biggest caged monster. An armored Grog crashes through the gate and stomps on all the littlest orcs it can find. The last orc within its reach wasn't as lucky. Talion stood before Rogmug the Beastmaster, with his pet Grog growling behind him.
It is time to summon some reinforcements.
Talion's fist began to glow in a ghostly pale blue light. Rogmug can see the ranger's eyes glow the same color. The Beastmaster could feel the haunting glare creep in his mind, but it wasn't enough to scare him away. But the sounds from above gave him a slight jolt. Fire drakes descended from the skies, clouding the fortress in fire.
He's a demon!
In a final and cowardly effort, Rogmug the Beastmaster fled the scene, for his fear of drakes won out his nerves, leaving his pet Grog to fend itself. Sadly, that didn't last much longer for the Grog either. But before Rogmug could run any further, Talion caught up with him, took a hold of his face, and burned his bright hand across his cheek.
Join me. Face my wrath.
I swear my allegiance.
Rogmug knelt down on one knee and rose up and began to fight at Talion's side.
Now let's put that grog to good use.
My thoughts exactly.
Talion blinked his way to the top of the Grog's head and branded his mark on the monster's right jawline. Jumping his way to the closest rooftop, Talion watched his new Grog demolish its way deeper into the fortress. The outer lines now belonging to Talion's army. His mounted cavalry captured the outer walls, while Rogmug the Beastmaster's Karagars began to fight for the Ranger now, leaving Talion himself to watch the rest of the slaughter. Halfway into the keep, Talion so far has the upper hand, but that doesn't mean he's taken the fort yet. The last gate to breach is upon him, standing tall and much more fortified than the outer walls. Coming from above the gate comes an old friend of Talion's, one who betrayed him, Mogzu the Skinner. His armor was made of both Karagor and human skin, and his tongue leaked slowly between his sickly, rotten teeth as he eyed down on Talion.
Ah, my old friend. I always knew Rogmog was a coward beneath all those beasts, and I'm so glad you took him for your own. He'll be an excellent addition to your army. It'll help embarrass your appalling ranks of traitors and mutineers.
Walking to Talion's side was Rocker the blacksmith.
Our master is going places the Dark Lord would never dare to imagine. You may call us traitors, but I'd say it was worth it. You should have stayed with us, Mogu.
Tough talk, Jack. Let's try and meet an honorable slaughter for all of you before we see the vermin you truly are. Oh, wait. There's no need because I've already won.
Mogzu pulled out his skinning blade and signaled his troops to lay down the poisonous liquid oozing out from above the gates. The orcs in front, who are exposed to the strange substance, begin feeling strange, and their minds begin to cloud into a feeling of rage. That's when Talion and Rocco realize it's not just poisonous liquid, but the fumes cause the victims to hallucinate and go into a state of rage.
Are Gruz and Oskar ready with the explosives?
Yes, master.
Then let's get started.
On the other side of the inner wall, Gruz the Spine Reaper and Ozkar the Ravaged hauled in a special delivery of a cache of explosive grog.
What a horrible waste of grog.
There'll be a lot more later on.
Gruz and Ozkar ran back away from the explosive range and lit his torch, signaling their bowman, Dawa the Sniper, to fire down on the grog. Underneath his hood stood a skinny, yellow-skinned orc, not much in strength, but has the eyes of a hawk.
There's the signal.
Before Darba could hoist his crossbow to shoot, he could hear footsteps coming from behind him. No one should know of his location.
Oh no you don't, you talk of a brother.
Darba the Sniper turned around to see his older brother, armed with poisonous spears, Felgrush the Manhunter.
My old enemy.
Felgrush the Manhunter was anything but appealing, even by an orc standards. His face was covered and wrapped in a sack. The only way he could see was through his left eye.
You took my eye, you traitor. So now I'm going to take yours and rip your tongue out with my teeth.
I'll make sure you stay dead this time, brother.
Darba the Sniper now duels with his older brother Felgrush the Manhunter. He pulls out his spears from his pack, and they both clash in the battle to the death. Felgrush charged at his enemy with 2 spears in both hands. Darba ducked for cover and slipped to the side, exposing Felgrush's backside. Just as quickly as the arrow, Felgrush turned his way around and caught the arrow with ease.
You really thought that could get me? I've picked up a lot of practice since our last fight.
Darba the Sniper clears his face of any irritation and drops his crossbow.
Then I'm going to need to get my hands dirty.
Darba pulls out a sharp machete slung across his back and gives it a few swings.
Now it's gonna get nasty.
Both Urks charged toward each other, both eager to kill one another. Felgrush stabbed Darba's exposed foot, causing him to kneel in pain.
This is where you die, little brother.
Felgrush the Manhunter hoisted his spear in the air and began to plunge it straight for his soon-to-be-dead rival. In a last final effort of adrenaline, Daba sliced through Felgrush's spear before it could kill him. Daba's hatred of losing finally started to kick in, and now he began attacking Felgrush at a faster rate of speed. With Felgrush's final spear in hand, their weapons clashed and beheld each other with deadly stares.
So this is how it ends between us, brother? Two powerful Uruks locked in an epic duel till death comes for us both?
Death is only coming for you, brother. I won't be dying here. Especially not by your hands of all things.
Daba breaks free of their weapons lock, slips out a knife, and plunges it straight up his brother's gut. Daba the sniper swings out his blade and slices off his brother's right arm. Takes another swing right across his chest. Now it's Felgrush's turn to be kneeling on the ground.
Farewell, brother.
Daba finishes this fight off by piercing his blade right through his brother's rag-covered face. Felgrush finally dropped dead. Daba slowly pulled his blade out and took a bow to his brother's corpse.
Oh, shock! I have to hurry.
Daba picks his crossbow back up and reloads quickly.
Time to make some noise.
Back to Talion and Rocka the blacksmith. They embrace the explosion with smiles.
What was that?
Seems pretty obvious to me, you piece of schrock!
A distraction!
All of Talion's orcs reformed and charged over to the hole in the wall. The Overlord's troops were putting up a good fight, but they were at a complete disadvantage. Inside the fortress's keep, the Overlord begins to put his foot down on this whole situation.
That tears it. If I'm going to lose this fortress, then I'll lose it with my dying breath.
Akar the Greedy assembled his most loyal troops, gathered his sword, wrapped in gold and dipped in fire. Armed and ready to fight, he stomped his way outside his keep to join in on the fighting.
Looks like the rat has left his hole.
Time to put an end to this.
Talion jumped down from the wall and walked up to greet the fort's overlord.
You made a real mess here tonight. You slain my army, my Graug now fights for you. So much torment. I swear this to you, Gravewalker. I'll make sure you've suffered more than anyone in my life.
The Overlord and all his remaining followers charged Talion, weapons in hand. The ranger riposted Akar's stab and pierced his sword through his armor. It was a lethal blow, but Akar was strong enough to keep fighting. Two Karagals came rushing at his side. Both Karagars tackled for Talion, but Rocka the blacksmith pushed him out of harm's way and took him instead, jerking him in both of their mouths like a tug-of-war. Rocka the blacksmith escaped both of the monster's teeth, but just barely. He's wounded but can still fight, or so he thought. His sides began to bleed critically, and he fell to his knees. Talion had the Karagars to deal with first. They tried to go for a lunge at his head, but Talion ducked just in time to slice underneath their bellies, spilling their intestines and falling to the ground with a thud.
Master! Help me!
Mogzu the Skinner came from behind Rocka and held a knife to Rocka's neck.
This is for blowing up my wall, Doc.
Rocka the blacksmith has fallen.
No! No!
Don't feel sad, Talk. You'll be joining him soon.
Nah, not likely.
Gruz the Spine Ripper and Ozcar the Ravager arrived just in the nick of time to put an end to the Overlord's wrath.
My name is Gruz, the Spine Ripper. How about I show you why they call me that?
Gruz Gruz slammed the Overlord on the ground. Arkar tried to crawl his way out, but Ozkar caught him and snapped his right leg to keep him from crawling his way out. He ripped off his chest armor, slammed his fist straight into the Overlord's back. He could already feel his backbone. With little might, Gruz ripped out his spine, and for an extra show and his personal favorite part, Gruz stepped on the Overlord's head, ending his life with a puddle of black blood and a twitching body. A mutilated corpse was all that was left of Arkar the Greedy.
This can't be happening!
Before Mogzu could attempt fleeing, Celebrimbor shot an arrow in his knee, causing him to stagger in his place. With all his anger, Talion pulled out his dagger, looked straight and deep into his eyes, and lunged right through his neck with no thought of any final words. He pulled out quickly and used his sword to decapitate what was left. Mogzu fell to the ground, dead.
This fortress is ours! Gruz,
Yes, Master.
you've proven yourself valuable. As a reward, I hereby grant you this fortress. Protect these walls in the name of the Bright Lord.
Yes. I'd be honored, Master.
Donned in more prestigious armor, Gruz the Spine Reaper became the new overlord of the fort. In memoriam to the brave Uruk who sacrificed himself, Raka the blacksmith, Gruz ordered his troops to sculpt a statue to him in his memory. Ozkar the Ravager serves as Gruz's bodyguard. Rogmug the Beastmaster kept his position as the guard of the outer walls. Eventually, he found the courage to best the Drakes. He has now become the ultimate Beastmaster. Daba the Sniper was promoted to the Inner Walls Protector in replacement of Mogzu the Skinner. He now keeps the rags in honor of his dead older brother, Felgrush the Manhunter. Talion and Celebrimbor set out for more fortresses in order to raise their orc army and grow their influence. Capturing this fort was just the beginning of something much greater, because in the story to come and beyond, nothing will be forgotten.